Hello, and welcome to the Ignite Your Personal Brand Virtual Summit. I'm your host, Darlene Hawley, and I'm so excited to kick off 2019 with these powerful stories to help you create an authentic, magnetizing, and profitable brand and business. In this series, I'll be sharing amazing women who will be sharing their story for why they started their journey into entrepreneurship, and they're sharing their top tips to make an impact on your bottom line to create a thriving business in 2019. And today, I have an amazing guest. Please help me welcome Brie Masi. Hi, Brie.
Hi, how are you, Darlene?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for being on this series with us. I'm so excited to learn from you and see what you can teach us today. Please introduce yourself. Tell us just a little bit about who you are and kind of how you came onto this journey of being an entrepreneur.
Okay, well, first and foremost, I am a mindset and anxiety coach. I primarily, and that's for women. Most of my clients are actually women who have overcome abuse and who want to start their own businesses so that they can live their best life and also to be able to live that life on their own terms. How I became a life coach, for one, I was doing it for a long time just naturally, and then it just became a passion of mine. I have a background in human resources, and so during that process, I actually really love like employee development and that aspect of being able to help people figure out what they want to do and everything and what's their skills, their strengths and things like that. And so through that, going to school for that, I ended up deciding like I really love that aspect of it, but I didn't really love the corporate aspect of things. So I really like to talk to people one-on-one and just sit down with them and hear their hearts. And you can't really do that in a corporate environment. So I ended up looking up some ways of doing things. And so I'm like, okay, I think life coaching is going to be what I'm doing, because I had a background where I had been through so many atrocities, and there's so many women who are amazing and they don't even know it. And so being able to like pull that out of them is what I love to do. Like I can see I'm very intuitive. So like when I'm talking to them, when I'm talking to even a stranger, I'm like, oh my goodness, like I can see their strengths and whatnot. And I'm telling them and I'm encouraging them and I'm uplifting them and edifying them. And they're just like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And it's just very natural for me to just do that. And I love to be able to share with people what I see in them and being able to ask them different questions in order for them to be able to discover what are their strengths, not just me telling them, but them being able to discover it. And that's where the buy-in is for them, because they are discovering it on their own by me asking them just questions and really just I like to call peeling back the onion. So when we start to peel back that onion, then it's just like, okay, we found out the root cause. Now, what can we do to push you forward and to just push them into what their destiny and their purpose is? So that's why I love what I do.
I love that. And my background is kind of similar in the way that I didn't know that I was coaching in my past career. So when I found business coaching, when I was looking for a different career to go into, I was like, wait a minute, I've been doing this my whole entire life. I didn't know it was a career or something that I could get paid for to do as well. So you're like, wait a minute. So I love that was part of your journey into it.
Yeah, I just really do like, I can be anywhere and just like talking to people. I'm very like much a people person. So I'm just like, hey, oh my goodness. And it always starts off with like a compliment. Like I might see, I'm like really into fashion or something. I'm like, oh my goodness, those shoes are amazing. And then they just start talking to me, I don't know, and telling me their whole lives, So I don't know if people just feel comfortable. So, and then, if we have some kind of commonality, then it ends up evolving from there. And then there's a lot of things that as a coach that you can just share those things, even when it's not in a business kind of environment, so, but yeah,
that's awesome. I love it. Perfect. Well, today we're going to be talking about how to keep going and have a positive mindset around starting and upscaling your business. So I know you have a lot of great tips and tools that you're going to share with us today. Having courage over fear is one of your sweet spots that you like to talk about. Tell us a little bit about how you do that.
Okay. Well, Darlene, I really feel like when you're wanting to start a business, or even when you are already you've already started your business, or even sometimes when you're already in the thick of things and you really like have already had your clients and everything, that you could still experience so much fear in stepping outside of your comfort zone. And I think that when we start to just become more courageous by uplifting ourselves and just pushing ourselves past what we call fear, then that's when you're going to experience so much freedom to do what you really love. So like when you're in the beginning stages of wanting to start a business, there's so many things that you're afraid of. Like, well, what do I have to offer to anybody? Like, I don't know anything. I'm just this regular plain Jane, and everyone can relate. There's always going to be somebody who's going to relate to you. There's always going to be someone who has a story that is similar to yours. There's always going to be things that you can share that's going to be able to resonate with someone else. And I always say, like, you're just a few chapters ahead of someone who is just behind you. So if you're sharing what you know, you are an expert in all things that you've experienced. So when you look at it like being courageous in the fact that your story is who you are, your experience is what you've experienced. And when you're able to just come outside of yourself and just share that with everyone and share your experiences and share the things that you've learned, the things that you failed at, someone is going to learn from that. And that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out or if you've been in your business. Being able to be courageous in everything that you've experienced and put yourself out there is going to be what's going to help to propel your business farther than you ever experienced it. I think the very thing that we're afraid of the most to share is probably going to be the one thing that's going to make you, propel yourself farther into your destiny than you ever thought that you could be in. And we're just so afraid sometimes to like just step outside of our comfort zones and see what happens. And if it doesn't work, like, who cares? But you're going to learn, like, oh, that did not work. I'm not going to do that again. You know what I mean? But if you never took the time to like actually see what it's going to be like, then you're missing out. And you're also doing a disservice to your potential clients because you're not putting that content out because you're afraid of what the backlash will be, or if no one's going to respond, you're not giving it an opportunity to see what's going to happen.
I love that. That's something that I work with my clients on too, is really just sharing your authentic self and how do you show up and share stuff that might feel raw or a little scary sometimes to share, especially in the online space because you don't know who's watching or who's listening. But those are the pieces of your story that people connect to. It's kind of like the breadcrumbs that you lay out. It's drawing people into you. They're getting to know who you are. They're going to like you. They're going to trust you. And eventually they're going to want to do business with you because they feel connected and they know who you are and what type of help what you can teach them, what kind of things you can bring to them. And they feel like you're a friend already. You're not just somebody who's trying to sell to them. You're somebody who's got that, you're relatable. You've brought them into your story. You've made them a part of your story.
Absolutely. And I think that like in this day and age with so much social media, people they get an opportunity to really see who you are. Like you were saying, like you can post things about your business all the time, but sometimes people, they want to know, well, if I'm going to invest in this person, who is this person? And you give the opportunity to show them like, that they can relate to you. And I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we're so stuck in like everything being so perfect in business. And sometimes people just want someone that they can trust, that they can talk to.
True.
Yeah. Like, especially with, not all of the ladies that are going to be listening to this are coaches, but even as an entrepreneur, you're a leader. So they want to see that the leader that they're going to follow under is a human being. We all make mistakes, but it's how you use that mistake or whatever you learned, not even a mistake, but how you use that failure, quote unquote, and tell them what you learned from that failure, then it's not a failure anymore because you learned something from it. And that's how we look at fear.
And a lot of times you want to wait to share that story. You don't necessarily want to tell it like right when you're in the midst of it, but you want to share it after you kind of come through it. That way you can show this is what happened and this is how I overcame it, or this is how I turned it around to where it's not a negative or something that happened in my life, but how I'm going to use it for good as part of that connection piece.
One of my tips for that one in particular is write it down. Write down that failure. Write down what you learned about it, or make sure that you're notating as you're going through it, what's happening, because later on, you're going to be able to use that as content. You're going to be able to use that for some kind of lesson that you're going to be able to teach at a later time. You know, you want to be a good example. So you don't want to tell them, like she was saying, like right when it's actually happening, because people are like, oh, she's just venting or she's complaining, you know, but more so, or she doesn't have her stuff together. And we're not going to always have our stuff together because we're human beings. However, write it down, write how you're feeling, write what happened after, and write what you learned about that. So that's what I think. Yeah. And just go for it. Keep going.
Exactly. And it's so nice to know too, like in the online space, we're constantly looking at ways to create content and to how to share our message. And that's a great tip, to just write it down and come back to it maybe next week or next month, or maybe a year later. It doesn't have to be a story that you share immediately, but just keep it in that log. That way, you know, you can follow back up with it and see how you can turn that into content that you can share with your audience of things that you overcame and how you were courageous and got through that step.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, I know that you like to talk about trusting yourself. So what are some ways that you in your business have really trusted yourself to move forward?
Well, in the beginning, I was talking about like feeling like you don't have anything to offer, or, you know, you're just a person. Like what is it that you could bring to the table? And I believe that when you really understand like who you are and take the time to learn who you are, what you love, why you love it, it's going to come out in your ability as a coach or your ability as an entrepreneur, because if you don't buy into it, then other people are not going to buy into it. And it's not like you're trying to sell something per se, but it's more so if you don't believe in yourself, then other people are not going to believe in you. It's like if you are an actress, but you're just kind of like not sure of yourself, people are going to be like, oh man, she's not a good actress. Like, you know, you don't believe in your own self. So how do you expect someone else to believe in you? And so when you decide to do something, start your business, to upscale your business, you need to go all in regards to that. But the only way that you can do that is to believe that you can do it. And I think that a lot of times what we do is we don't believe it because we don't even try more than one time. So you have to stay consistent. Having consistency in everything that you do, you're going to get better. You're going to get more confident. And the more confident you are, I just say practice, practice, practice. So the more confident you are, the more people are going to see that confidence is going to be coming out of your pores because you're practicing. You know, like it's like now the cool or popular thing to do is to be on like a live stream. So that could be on any social media platform. YouTube has it, Instagram has it, Facebook has it. So like, let's use that as an example. If that's something that you're not comfortable with, you have to do it consistently. Your audience is going to want to watch it because you've been consistent in that. They're like, oh, I can expect, you know, that she's going to do this. But the only way that you're going to be able to do that is to trust that you can do it. So just keep pushing yourself forward, be courageous, and make sure that you're trusting in your own ability. And the only way that you know that you're able to do it is if you do it. So trust yourself. So that's what I really think like it's really important, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, no, and the consistency piece to it, because so often we set ourselves up that we want to do something and maybe it doesn't work the way that we think it's going to work the first time, but knowing that you have to get back up and do it again, especially with live streaming. So if you want to be consistent with it, you have to be, or if you want to get better at it, you have to be consistent with doing it. It's not something that one and done. It's not like, oh, I made a live stream video, was awesome, I'm done for the rest of my life. No, it's keep going back out there, showing up consistently, being somebody that your audience is going to trust you. If they know that you're going to show up every Wednesday at 12 o'clock to do a live stream video, they're going to expect that. So you have to make that commitment to yourself just as much as you are to your audience, that you're going to show up and keep giving everything that you have, and the consistency effort of it is perfect, because you have to have a plan of what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Otherwise, you're like, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it next week, or I didn't do my hair today, so I don't want to go on a live stream, or, oh, I don't look good, or I'm sick, or you'll just keep making excuses. And before you know it, the whole entire year has gone by and you haven't done a live stream for your group. So you've broken some of that trust with your audience because you haven't shown up like they thought you were going to. They want to see your face. And you might not have, 10,000 followers. You might have 500 or 200 or 100, but there's at least one or two people that are consistently looking for that information that you're sharing, and they want to see what you're going to teach to them.
Yes.
They know that you have a message.
Absolutely. And then the more yourself you are, they do watch. Even myself, I've experienced it. I've gotten offers for podcasts and I was just talking, I had a subject matter, but I didn't think specific people that were watching, even people that I didn't expect, like males, like, oh, well, we need a female perspective on our podcast. And I'm just like, what? Like I was, and then even like you said, like if my hair is messed up, do it anyway. Because what, she's doing it and her hair is messed up. Like how relatable is that? Not all.
And that's real life.
Don't do it every day like that, but sometimes.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I would say, yeah, as long as you show up, it doesn't matter what you look like or what you're doing. Just show up. If you just got home from the gym, do a video. It's okay. Let people know that this is real life. Sometimes your kids might come on video with you. I know you're a mom just like I am, and we have small ones at home. And some days you just go with the flow. If your toddler wants to sit on your lap and be a part of the live stream, get comfortable with it. Know it's okay. And don't judge yourself for it. Just trust that you're showing up for the people that are supposed to hear your message that day. And there's at least one person out there that needs your message every single time you go live.
Yes.
I love that.
If you're really like nonchalant, like let's say we use the example of your kid coming and sitting on your lap. If you're nonchalant about it, they're going to say, oh my goodness, she's so confident. She didn't even blink. You just, oh, are you coming to visit,
Yeah.
And that's going to resonate with someone because they're like, oh, wow, she is really a human being. Like just because she, makes so much money in her business doesn't mean she's still down to earth. It's really important to be down to earth.
We all have the same stuff going on in the background. It's just sometimes what we show to the world. And sometimes it's nice to see, like we were talking about earlier, like it's nice to see that things aren't always perfectly perfect. Like I know sometimes you might go on Instagram or Facebook and all you see is these pretty pictures and people are traveling the world and they're doing all these beautiful, amazing things. But what we don't see is, their kid was screaming 5 minutes ago, or that they just have a lot of emotional stuff going on. And we don't see that behind the scenes stories. And I think that's why it's important too, to start sharing those little bits of yourself, because those are what are going to connect you. If you look completely polished and perfect and put together, you don't seem real because at least most of our lives, that's not reality. It's not 100% all put together and polished and perfect. We have those raw moments where life is happening in the background. So don't be afraid to share that information with you.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about having a tribe. So who are some of the people that are in your life or in your business that kind of inspire and motivate you? And why is it important to have a tribe in place?
I think that having a vibe tribe is so important. And I use the term vibe tribe because you have to be on the same wavelength. Like you need people around you who are doing what you're doing. They're in their business. They are, go-getters. They're motivated. They're motivators. They're encouraging. They're uplifting. They're edifying. That's what you need, because there are some days when you're going to feel like, I don't want to do this. What am I doing? And you need to have those people around you that you can call, or that they sense like, I haven't heard from you. What's going on with you? They check in with you. They push you, but they also uplift you. And also, if you have a competitive spirit, you see they haven't quit. Like she's not going to leave me behind. We're pulling each other up, So I think that is so important. And then another thing is to keep your circle tight and keep your circle right. So you want to make sure that these people are trusted, that you can trust them with your heart. When you are an entrepreneur, when you're an influencer or a coach, you're supposed to have it all together. And because you help other people with their lives, right? You're a life coach. So your life is supposed to be perfect, but it's not, because we're all human. And so sometimes it's like, well, who do I talk to? Because I'm supposed to have it all together and I can't like vent or, you know, those things, even though they aren't specifically pertaining to your actual business, your mindset, your well-being is so important. So you want to make sure that you have the right support system around you, that those friends that you can come to and ask for things, you can bounce ideas off of each other. When you have some kind of, you know, new thing that you want to launch, those are your guinea pigs. Those are the ones that you say, what do you think about this? Does this seem authentic? Does this seem like me? Am I really, would you want to use this, or would you think this will be beneficial for my clients? Like, you want to be able to have that support system. I think it's very vital. If you don't have anyone, you're not going to be successful. You're doing it by yourself.
Yeah. So. And as an entrepreneur, it's lonely sometimes when you're by yourself, and you can get stuck in your head. You can start having all that fear and the doubt. So you have to have a vibe tribe, or what I call like a business bestie, like a group of women that will encourage you, motivate you, help hold you accountable. And like you said, if you see that they're still going and you know some of the stuff that's happened in their life or some of the things that are going, but they're still putting those steps forward, it's so motivating for yourself to be able to go, oh, I can do this. Like, yeah, I had a rough day. I had a rough moment. I need to go out in the living room, have a dance party, go for a walk, call one of my besties or my tribe, and get remotivated again and get back in the game. So I love that you have that tight knit of circles. So for some of the ladies who maybe don't have a vibe tribe right now, or somebody they connect to, what's one of the best ways you think that you can call in your tribe?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So, well, there are a few ways, but one of the ways that I've found to be successful is to go to where your people are, your like-minded people are. So there's meetups, you can join organizations, associations you can join, and then, you know, just being very present within that association so that maybe you might meet someone who lives in your area. There's also, you can go to conferences where there's other entrepreneurs who do what you do, and you would be so surprised. A simple compliment and you might have a sister for life, you know, just, oh my goodness, I love your shoes. Or, I mean, obviously you want to tell her that you love her shoes if you really love her shoes, but, you know, just being yourself. And if you're introverted, you know, then maybe you might want to go and start a Facebook group. And then maybe you'll be able to build a friendship that way, because you're not really an in-person kind of person. There's so many ways with the internet. Meetups is a good way if you feel comfortable going online and finding a place, because they'll have different like activities, events, and things like that within there. And also Toastmasters is a great way for professionals to be able to meet and be able to, you know, talk about your business, and you never know who you're going to connect with. Just be open-minded. I think that's really important, to be open-minded. But it is very important to build, even if you have one tribe member, you have to have someone that you can talk to. That's not a family member, that's someone who you can be transparent with, completely transparent in all the struggles that it is to be an entrepreneur.
Yes, I totally agree. I don't think that I would be where I'm at today if I wouldn't have surrounded myself with mentors and coaches and tribe members and besties that were people that I could really go to and help get me through the rough days, help encourage me through the great days. Those are definitely, and I love going to conferences, networking groups, different places like that are perfect places to find that tribe, because it takes a little bit sometimes. You'll know when it's the right person for you, when they call you out on your BS, when they make you laugh and smile and you have fun and you actually are excited to share your dreams and goals with them. That's when you know you have your tribe.
Absolutely. My bestie, my business bestie, as you say, she's actually in this virtual summit as well. Naima, make me show.
Yes.
She's awesome.
Yes.
And she always calls me out on the carpet if I'm having a moment, you know, and she always brings it back and she always gives me that good word. Like, you know, she's so uplifting and encouraging, and it's just a really good gift. And it's a really wonderful, beautiful thing to be able to have. And you need that. You need someone who's going to call you on your stuff, but they're also going to love on you. And someone who you can drink coffee with as well, you know.
Right?
Even
There's
if it's
nothing better.
virtual coffee.
There's nothing better than a coffee or a wine date to say, all right, let's work through this and get back on track. Let's check in, see where we're at and how we're going forward.
And then you do that for them too. It's not one-sided.
Yes. No, it's a give-take relationship, which is perfect. And it's not even a give-take. You're just being authentically you and showing up as who you are, and they're able to help inspire you just as you're inspiring them.
Absolutely.
So important. I love that. So let's switch gears a little bit. So what are some ways that you feel like goal setting has worked in your business? Like, how do you plan out what your 90 days is going to look like, or how you're going to plan your month? What are some ways that you kind of set that in place for you?
Well, typically I write down everything. I'm like old school. I know that everybody does everything on the computer, but I like to like write it down, but you could also type it up. There's so many different, you know, apps that you can use. For me, what I like to do, like every month, the end of the month, I like to plan for the next month. So I'm not like, you know, I'm a mom. I don't know if you're not a mom, then you probably have other obligations. But for me, there's so many things. I have 3 children, so I need to make sure that I run a tight ship. So I don't always have so much time to do things day by day. So I like to plan ahead of time. But I think in regards to goal setting, it's so important for us to make sure that we're consistently reminding ourselves of what our end goal is. So that when you have those moments when you're like, what am I doing? I want to quit, or I don't know what I'm doing. Like, you remember that there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and you have a goal that you want, and you want to set goals every week. You want to set weekly goals, monthly goals. You want to set quarterly goals, and you want to set even your annual goals. And then you want to actually have like a 5-year plan. Like, what do you want to see yourself at in 5 years? But the reason for the weekly goals is to just keep yourself accountable. The reason for the monthly goals is so that you don't go crazy, because you want to make sure that you have everything kind of together. Not everything, because things are going to pop in and you're going to be able to squeeze those in here and there. But you want to make sure that you have the bulk of it. Like, you know, maybe you have a social media planner, so you already have all of your posts already ready. So you're not thinking every morning, what am I going to post about? Like, you already have, even if it's just a week ahead of time, but you already have those things, or at least an idea of what you want those things to look like. And you know, you have the pictures mapped out of what you want to have and post, or whatever the quotes are going to be. So just being really organized. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but if you have at least a list of some of the topics that you want to talk about, you can squeeze those in as you feel led. Like for me, I have them done for like a week or a month, but I don't always want to post it because I might not be feeling that. That might not be where I'm at. So I want to make sure that I'm listening to my spirit and like, okay, this is what I'm feeling. Like today, I had a post already ready to go. And I was like, no, I don't want it to post because I'm not feeling that today. And I want to make sure that I'm talking to my audience and that they're hearing my heart. And that's not being authentic if I'm just posting it just to be posting it. But the point is just so that you organize enough to have some things for yourself to keep you sane so that you're not like all over the place. So it's really important to kind of have that organization, and it's an option. And then maybe you want to post something different, but at least you have that as your backup plan. It's important. And I'm using social media as a lot of examples because that is like our life now. Like this is how we communicate. So this is how we talk to our audience, right? Our tribe, we're trying to attract. So I find that helps me, but mostly in regards to the goals, writing those down and like having a vision board or having a calendar where you can go back and look at what are my goals for this month? How close am I to meeting this monthly goal? Oh, snaps, we're in the 3rd week of the month. Like, did I get, or am I close? Am I halfway? Am I right on point? Or do I need to speed things up? You know, so holding yourself accountable. And of course, you know, you can have a business bestie or a vibe tribe, right? But they're doing their own business as well. So they're not going to be over your shoulder, making sure that you're doing things every step of the way. You have to do that. So you're going to find out what's best for you. But to have those goals visible there for you to see, you're holding yourself accountable. And then you just check, oh, well, I like that. I'm right on point, and then sometimes it's like, oh, snaps, like I need to get myself together. I only did like 5 of my 25 goals. Let me, let me speed things up. So it's just to give yourself a focal point to be able to recognize where you are in, perspective of what your goal is. Are you close to it, or do you need to be closer to it?
Yes.
And 5-year goals is just so that you remember what you really want to see yourself becoming. And
yes, you have to have a plan. You have to know exactly what it is you're going to do. And I'm a big paper planner person as well. I kind of plan out the year for what I want it to look like, but then I have it broken down into each month. And at the end of each month, I like to really focus in with, okay, where am I at compared to last month? Am I still on track to meet my goals? What do I need to adjust? And then once I know what that goal is, I break it into baby pieces and I put it in my paper calendar, because I'm still old school like that. I like paper and pen. I feel like I get more creative and more done that way. Oh, yeah. But I like to put in, and I like to time block it too. So if I know I want to write a blog post each week, or if I want to have a certain amount of posts for social media, I actually schedule that into my calendar. So I know exactly which day I'm working on it. That way it actually gets done, instead of me just saying, oh, I want to create a blog post and 3 social media posts this week and not doing anything about it. I know that Monday I'm going to write my blog post. Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday I'm going to have my post created to go out into the world on Facebook or Instagram or wherever that is. And then I can add to it if I want to, but I at least have kind of that basic template in my calendar, so I know exactly what my goal is for the week so I can get there. So I'm huge on that too. I love that you plan out at the end of each month, and it's nice to assess, because you need to be able to know exactly what it is that's going on and put it into action.
Absolutely. Yes, you do.
So let's talk a little bit about your passion. I know you're a very passionate person. Share a little bit about how your passion shows through in your business.
Well, for me personally, I am very expressive. So, I think it's important that you choose something to, when you're within your business, if you're trying to decide on starting a business, if you've already started your business, you're looking to see what your niche should be, or you're trying to figure out if you're going to change things up, it needs to be with something that you're absolutely in love with, something that really touches home for you, because when you're translating that to your clients, they are going to see, oh my gosh, she is on fire, and I need that fire because I want that for my life. If you're just kind of like, oh, I'm just doing this so I can make some money, and I don't really love this, but this is just what I'm doing, they're going to be able to see it. I'm sorry. They're going to be able to see if you really, really love it, if you really, really know your stuff, if you really care about, you might care about your clients or the people that are going to come through your doors, but do you really care about what it is that you're teaching them? That's going to translate, especially if you're doing something over the phone. Years ago when I used to work at a bank, and I used to do over the phone, they could hear my heart. They would tell me oh my gosh, you sound so passionate about this, but I would be in their business, asking them questions about their kids and stuff. I really care. That's just my personality. And they're just oh my gosh, you're so, you're really into this. But what I got from that is, even over the phone, so let alone in person or over the internet where you could literally see my face, you need to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing, you're passionate about it, that you love it, that you're in love with it, because they're going to see that you're in love with it. They're going to see that you are an energy ball. And if that's not your personality, you have to find a way, whether it be through your email list, when you're emailing, show some spark in that. Everybody's not bouncy or peppy or, extroverted. Some people are introverted. So you have to figure out what is going to best show what your personality is, and it's going to come across to your clients. So what is that going to look like for you? So you're going to have to do some research. How can you show your passion for what you love without being inauthentic to who you really are? Does that make sense?
That totally makes sense. And it's so important, I think, when you start thinking about what kind of business you want to have, or if you've already started your business, did you build it around something that you are passionate about? Because you're going to wake up every single day focused on this niche. Is it something that you're actually passionate about? Is it something that excites you to wake up in the morning? Or are you laying in bed, putting the cover over your head saying, I don't want to get up today. I don't want to talk about it anymore. So whether it's a job or career or as an entrepreneur, it's important that whatever it is that you're doing in life, that you're passionate about it. So
yeah,
it's so important, I think.
In the first year of business, like, people change a lot. So you might change your niche like 3-4 times till you find whatever it is. You might change your products. You might change whatever it is until you feel comfortable with what you're doing and you feel like, oh my goodness, this just fits. I feel so aligned with what I'm doing. It's okay to change it.
Yeah.
It's okay. I changed my niche twice. Well, I didn't really change it. I kind of made it more specific. Can't get more specific than mine. It's very specific. And it's crazy because I was afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to change your niche if you need to, or your products, because it's only going to benefit you. Because, well, for mine personally, I help women who have overcome abuse. And I have experience in that. And so because I have experience in that, I can speak to that with passion and with love. And it translates over to my clients. And I think that's where you're going to get your ideal clients, because they're going to be like, man, she knows. She knows what I'm going through, and she's been there and she's come out the other side unscathed, maybe not so much unscathed, but maybe she's alive, and she's thriving. Might have a couple of scrapes, but she's thriving. How did she do that? Mm-hmm. What did she do? I want to know the secrets. So it's okay to change it to make it authentic to you.
Yes. And that's something I work with my clients on. When I started my business, I just called myself a business coach, which can cover so many different areas. There's so many facets to a business. And the more and more that I got into my business, I knew that I wanted to niche down to specifically work with women that were either just starting a business, or maybe they've had their business for a little while, but they didn't have a solid foundation built for how to move forward. And I think that once you have a solid foundation built for your business, you can pivot your niche a little bit without it being noticeable and a big deal where you have to change all your marketing, your branding, your what you're talking about. It's just a slight shift that allows you to keep the audience tied in without having to reinvent yourself completely. So I love that you talked about having that passion and knowing it's okay to pivot when you need to as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're talking about being passionate. So what are some ways that you challenge yourself every day to keep that passion alive and to take those calculated risks that you need to take each day in your business?
I think it's really important to challenge yourself daily. And my personal experience, so like we were talking about like Facebook Live or Instagram Live, like I love talking to people, but in person. I don't like to look at myself on the camera. Like it's not natural for me, which is interesting. I used to model when I was in my 20s, which I'm not in my 20s anymore. But, take pictures real quick. You don't have to really interact. You just walk down the runway, walk back, do a couple smiles and keep it moving, right? But this is like you actually have to like interact. And sometimes you're talking to yourself. Sometimes you're talking to your audience, but they're not there. Like you're literally just talking to your image in the camera. And so that wasn't normal or natural for me. I had to step outside of myself and realize that I would be doing them a disservice if I didn't share with them what I need to share with them. And sometimes I don't really want to always do it, but you just have to push yourself because this is what they need. And if you're not thinking about, don't make it so you focused, make it focus on them, and it's going to be easier for you because of the fact that you're like, oh my goodness, my clients need me. They need me to show up for them. And so when you're challenging yourself, so in using social media as the example, it's a calculated risk because of the fact that, for one, it's not going to kill you. The end result, it can only benefit you in the sense that it's giving you more visibility, and people are going to have the opportunity to see who you are, to hear what you know. So I use that as an example, as that is how we communicate right now with clients outside of people who only want to talk to us over the phone or on Skype. And even in that, like, that might be something that you're not comfortable with, talking over, Zoom or Skype. Just do it. Just keep going. And if you sound crazy in your first one, don't let it deter you, because you need to challenge yourself. It's going to grow you. It's going to grow you. And the better you get at it, no matter what it is, the more you're going to be able to help people. And the more you're going to put yourself out there. The people.
Yes, and it's so important to have that visibility now. One of my mantras that I've used this year was, I do scary things. So every day I ask myself, okay, what's something scary that I can do today to get myself out of my comfort zone? Because if you get stuck and you're just comfortable and complacent, you aren't doing the things you need to do to grow your business, things aren't going to shift. You're not going to start having the traction that you want. But for me, knowing that I do scary things, which go on a live video or make a call that I'm a little bit nervous to reach out to, whatever those things are, just knowing that it's okay. And you give yourself permission to do and challenge yourself in a different way each day. So I love that. So yeah, do that mantra. I do scary things.
I like that. I'm going to use that. Things that I do today. Right. Even sometimes reaching out to people on, like, Instagram or stuff like that. Like, one time I pushed myself and I just added all these people on Facebook. I don't even know them. I just saw they were entrepreneurs, they were moms. And I just got so many more people that, like, asked me questions and things like that. Or just when I changed my niche the last time, people, like, send me, like, so many DMs, like, asking me questions, like, what do I do with this? And that's how you get clients. Yes. Being social. You have to put yourself out there, because it's really easy as entrepreneurs, especially those of us that are working from home, solopreneurs. It's easy to hide behind your computer. It's easy to sit on Facebook and scroll for hours on end. But if you don't go into a group and ask questions or interact and engage with people, go out to networking events in your local community, share tips, get in front of people, maybe host a workshop or contact some local groups where you can go and present on your topic. Do some scary things that maybe you're not doing currently, but it'll give you that slight shift to start taking your business to the next level. And it's scary sometimes, but the reward at the end of it is totally worth that initial fear. And especially once you've gone through it, you look back, like at Facebook Live, you look back on it afterwards and you're like, oh, that wasn't so scary. I'm still alive, like you said. It didn't kill me. It made me stronger. Maybe I have some things I want to work on. I personally don't like to watch my videos after I've created them. I'd rather not go back and watch them, because I don't want to critique myself. I don't want to beat myself up on, oh, I should have said this, or, oh, I could have done this differently. Like, just, it's already out there in the world. You've done it. Learn from it and move forward and do something scary the next day to keep that momentum going. And don't delete them. No, you don't delete them. You share them into the world. Yes. And because you want to look back later, like a year from now, and say, oh my goodness, like, I've come so far. But if you delete them, then you don't have any way of seeing. Yeah. So. And how fun is it for your clients to go back and see old videos versus maybe where you're at today? Like, it's a fun research project when you're telling other people to go out and do this. You can go, well, watch this video. You want to see something funny? Go back and watch this video. It's nice to have it in there. Absolutely. So what are some ways that you shift your mindset? Okay, so for me, I think in the beginning stages, I just didn't really know what I was doing. And so I was just kind of so focused on the fact that I didn't know what I was doing. And I'm just thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. That's just all I kept thinking about. And then I discovered gratitude. I discovered gratitude in the sense of just really being grateful for the things that I have, the things that I have right this very minute, the things the things that I've had in the past, the experiences that I've had in the past, the things I have now, and the things that I'm going to have. And the way that for me, I do that the best or remind myself is every morning I have a journal and I do gratitude journaling. So, and it has transformed the way that I see life. Because I'm like, I have to fill up a whole page. Like, what could I possibly write and fill up an entire page? Are you kidding me? And once I get to the bottom of the page, I'm like, man, I have so much to be grateful for. And I think the beautiful thing is when you do it in the morning, first thing in the morning, your whole day shifts because now you're just in such a positive mindset because you were able to pull out so many things. Whether it be you woke up this morning and you're literally able to breathe. You could get out of your bed or not. For one, you have a bed, so that's something to be grateful for.
Yes.
And you're able to get out of it and stand up. And if you can't stand up, whatever you do have, you want to be grateful for whatever that is. So it could be appendages. It could be the sun coming up this morning, being able to see it, being able to smell, like very simple things. And then you work your way up to bigger things, So I'm thankful that I have a roof over my head, that I have clothes on my back, food on my table, transportation, whatever it is, my business. And then when you start talking about future things, you write about future things as though they already have happened. And it pumps you up because you're like, man, yes, I'm going toward my destiny. I'm going toward the things that I know I'm going to have. And it's not so much materialistic things. You could be talking about your clients. My clients are amazing. My clients are drawn to me because I'm authentic. And you're telling yourself that. It's changing your mindset. And if you're doing it daily, there's no way you're going to be negative about your business because you're telling yourself all these wonderful things. The mind is ever growing. So if you're telling yourself negative things, your mind is you're going to have a negative mindset. And if you're telling yourself positive things on a regular basis, your mindset is going to be naturally positive because of the fact that you've exercised those brain muscles with positivity. So being grateful and having an abundance mindset, I think that's where fear comes in. That's where negativity comes in. We think, oh my goodness, there's so many people out there that are already doing what I'm doing. There's not enough clients. There's not enough people. There's not enough money, and that's not the case. There is always enough. And if you're not living in that scarcity mindset and you're living, there's enough for me. I'm provided for. God is providing for me. You think about that in that manner, then you are going to be, it just changes everything, the way that you see life. And just think, and even if you're having a difficult time currently, don't focus on that. Sorry, my gardener's here. Don't focus on the negativity of where things are not, but focus on all the things, pull those things out. There's something positive that's going on in your life right now, despite whatever your business might be struggling right now, but you have the internet, you have so many other resources and things that you can do to learn something new to propel your business. Be grateful for that. Be grateful we don't live in the Stone Ages and we live in the time of technology where you can learn anything that you really want to learn, There's so many things you can be grateful for. And I think when you start to have your mindset set on being grateful, you will see things so differently.
I love that you brought that up. I started journaling at the beginning of this year, 2018. And it was such a shift to each morning wake up and just spend 5 to 10 minutes writing down what I was grateful for, looking at things that shifting the perspective into it's already happened. Writing down, I am statements or just those prompts that give you a positive mindset and shift things to where you're looking at it in a more of an abundant, grateful way versus, I'm not there yet, but just saying you're already there, like switch that wording to where maybe you want to have a bigger reach. So shifting how you say things to get yourself in the mindset to where you're already doing that. It's not something that you want to do. It's something that you're doing currently. And that's made such an impact. I know for myself this year, it's just something as simple as starting my day journaling. It's definitely one of the steps I use in my morning routine that's made a big change and impact. And you were talking about the gratitude posts, and it made me think something that I started a few months ago with my kids, even at bedtime. I asked them what are some things that they're grateful from just for the day. So before we go to bed, they say they're thankful or grateful for a great day at school, or that they were able to have snuggle time on the couch with mom, or that we read a book. But just having my kids even shift their thought process, because so often we might think about all the negative stuff or the things that happened during the day that didn't really go the way we wanted it to. But training their brains to start thinking in that, grateful mindset, I think has been huge too. And it's so fun to see like what they come up with sometimes, because you're like, oh, that was important to you. Like, I didn't even realize that made an impact on you, but you're thankful for, something that was super small for me. Like my daughter sometimes will say she's thankful I braided her hair, or that we went for a walk in the evening, and we're just doing life. Like I'm just doing mom life. So I don't even think of it as something to be grateful for. But yeah, whether it's in business or in your personal life, I think it's important to really look at everything and be grateful for what you have, because we have a lot more than most people.
Yes.
I love that. Well, as we kind of start to close our interview up, what's kind of one bonus tip that you can give to our audience, kind of top strategies that's going to not only help them make a shift in their business, but maybe also help them impact their bottom line?
I want to tell you all, let me look close into the camera. Trust the process. Trust the process. And when I say that, I mean, you're not going to necessarily start your business and make $100 million. More than likely not. That's unrealistic. You need to know that I always say slow and steady wins the race. It's going to take time. Enjoy it, because you'll never have this experience again as you continue down your journey of your business. The beginning stages will never be the beginning stages ever again. The ending, like if you've already been in your business and you kind of remember those beginning stages and now you're in the middle phase, you're never going to have that again once you go to, the place where you've excelled. So you just enjoy that, because that is something that you're never going to get back. It's like the excitement of, getting your first client, like that is going to be something that you can never get back. You can, of course, going to have more clients after that, but that initial excitement, like that's something that's a one-time thing, so just enjoy that process and know that sometimes it might not be as fast as you want it to be, but just be present in that moment and just try to pull what can you learn from that situation? What can you learn from this process? And always just write down your entire process. Like I'm really big on journaling. Yeah, you might not have time to write everything down. You can record yourself when you're in the car, taking your kids to school or going on your way to work, of where you are. Keep a log of it all, because you want to be able to experience what was that like, man, or man, was I green, or like man, was I nervous? Like I'm so confident now. And that's going to even boost you even more, because you remember where you were and say, oh man, well, that means I'm going to be even more confident another year from now. And just kind of go back maybe even once a year and say, well, what happened like last year? Man, I pushed myself so far. Look where I am. But at the end of the day, what I want to just make sure that I reiterate is just keep going. Keep going. Whatever you're feeling like right now, don't stop. Don't stop in your tracks and, sit in your sorrows or feel like you don't know what you're doing. Or if you do feel like you know what you're doing, that's amazing. But keep going, keep pushing yourself. And you're going to be amazing. And I cannot wait to hear what everybody has to say in regards to where their journeys have taken them. So
yes, I so love that. And it's so important to just trust the process and keep going. Baby steps every single day, just keep moving forward. Well, I love that you were on today. And I know that everyone wants to touch base with you more and stay connected with you so that you can nurture and love on them. What are the best ways for them to find you online? And then also tell us a little bit about your free gift that you're gifting as part of this process.
Absolutely. So first of all, you can find me at themommymindset.com. So that's www.themommymindset.com. And my handle on Instagram is the same as the Mommy Mindset. And it's the same for Twitter. And also, if you go onto my website, then you can go ahead and ask for a free coaching session. So you get a free one-on-one coaching session with me, as well as I'm going to have a workbook for us to be able to work through each and every part of the process of finding out what you want to do in your business. If you're already in your business, are you passionate about it? So we'll be able to kind of reevaluate if you are where you want to see yourself 5 years from now. Like we said, when you do your 5-year goals, are you in alignment with what you want to do and be? So my gift to you will be a free coaching session, an hour-long 60-minute coaching session. And we will be able to kind of pull back the onion and see, you know, what you're truly passionate about and if you're in alignment with what that looks like.
Beautiful. And I know there's going to be so many ladies taking you up on that because you've shared so many nuggets today of how to find your goals, how to find your vibe tribe. We talked about being courageous and trusting yourself and just being consistent. So I know I've taken so many notes during this. I've got a few ideas in my head just off of our conversation. So I know this is going to impact so many of us as we go throughout the summit. So thank you so much for being a guest on today. I can't wait to learn more and share this experience with you and be part of that vibe tribe that you have going on.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so fun to get to talk to you and to talk to all of you ladies. I cannot wait to meet you. Have a wonderful time. Have a wonderful day and enjoy the summit.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Darlene.